Are you dreaming of the lifestyle that comes with successful trading? Well, it's time to make it a reality. Welcome to the Trading Ascension podcast, where you can discover methods to improve your trading results by focusing on your trading psychology. I'm Jason E., your guide on this path to trading improvement, self-discovery, and self-mastery. Together, we'll explore the personal and spiritual growth journey of profitable day trading. Prepare to unlock the secrets of the trader's mind and align your inner self with your personal success. Listen to this episode if you want to ascend to new levels of trading excellence and personal development. This is Trading Ascension, supporting your journey to mastering trading psychology and personal growth for consistent profits. Let's elevate your trading and your consciousness starting now. In today's episode, we'll explore how to unlock your potential as a trader by shifting your mindset from a focus on constant improvement to embodying success. This shift, it allows us to make more specific and impactful changes to ourselves and our trading business. And this is a familiar topic for this community, but it's a crucial topic. And today I have a few specific areas that we can dive into with action for a unique approach to the goal of reaching consistent profitability. Now, the truth is, most traders quit within 90 days of opening their first account. So, congratulations on persevering. Your continued effort, it shows that you still hold hope and belief in your trading journey. And it's a worthy battle. It's a boss battle, right? If this lane is for you, what could be more rewarding? Could be more of a rewarding fight? It's a challenging path towards our greater good. It gives our life a worthy cause. This is any goal, gives our life a worthy cause that we can align with. And we focus on not just the outcome of that goal, but also when we focus on who we have to be to get those results, we're empowered. Today, I'm focused on one of the avatars of this community. So, not speaking to someone specifically, but someone in this situation like I was, will listen to this episode. And that trader is actually ready to have results now. And this episode is specifically for you. And I know you can feel it. You can know that you are on the cusp of your next level. And there are many levels, but getting to your next personal plateau is always the immediate kind of next step trajectory for us. Maybe you don't think you're due, right? You might think I still got some more, developing to do. I'm not ready to feel like I should be successful here. If that's you, stick around still, because if you take the action I'm suggesting, even if you don't think you're near your next plateau, you're going to be able to quicken your journey. Now, yes, we'll always be growing and adjusting as traders. So I'm not talking about an arrival point, but there is a point of competence that we must accomplish. And that's like the foundation for the rest of our career. Before that point, we don't really know what we're doing. And there are obvious changes that we have to make on the personal and spiritual growth journey towards profitable day trading. And I want to plead to you to make them when you are aware of them and not just wait. A lot of times we wait to feel a certain way till we get permission from the outside or confirmation from the outside. But why wait? I believe your brain and the mind that you have is without question the most powerful creation in this known universe. And yeah, there's some, crazy AI out there these days, but AI isn't a creation mechanism. It can organize information, but it can't gather what it doesn't have yet. pierce into the darkness of time and space and carve out a reality and then create that reality. You can. You can not only perceive things not in your current reality, you can take actions that will bring that perception into your 3D reality. You're a marvel of this universe. So I want you to imagine the results that you want to earn from being a person that has developed the skill of day trading. A skill that only 5 to 10% of those who try can execute. The ability to travel and make money. The ability to not trade time for money. The ability to make money in a more timely manner compared to employment and everything on that side of the cash flow quadrant. Helping the people you love, supporting the causes you're passionate about, making the changes that you want to see in your community, being the change that you want to see in the world, freedom. So my wild claim today is that you might get results sooner if you shift your focus a little bit. If you get off the seeking path and onto the having path. Of course, we know that quote from the Bible, right? It's in the book of Matthew in the Christian Bible, and it's chapter 25 and the verse of 29, and it says, "For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have, will be taken from them." This passage highlights the principle of an abundant mindset, and it suggests that those who are already successful or possess certain qualities will continue to receive more, while those who are lacking these qualities may lose the little that they have. My experience says that this is true. It says that it's played out in my life many times. And we even have a cliche, right? The rich get richer. And a cliche is a cliche usually because it's because it's true, right? And look, I've spent years in on the seeking path in pain, emotionally, mentally, financially, all undue and all because I was stuck seeking. I was super cold, right? And that's a term I'll introduce later because I got a metaphor about the super cold state of ice. We get into that science nerdy stuff here. But you have to be ready for change, but you also have to embrace change. And it was a simple but not an easy, shift to make in our perspective to do that. But by doing it, we adjust our course, our trajectory, and we can feel like the path is more direct. And we can know by the changes that we're making. There's a saying, I think it's related to a book, but it talks about life is basically us choosing what pain we're willing to endure, right? So it's just a different perspective at decision making because all paths have the results, the goals, but they also have the sacrifices that we have to make when we choose that path. And it just says in that book, when we choose the path that has the sacrifices that we're willing to do, that's the right path for us. So we look at goals and we say, which path has the pain I'd like to most endure best? And you can potentially select the best way for yourself by being honest and accepting the pain that path will likely offer. And when we do that, we can travel more boldly. We can show up ready for inevitable battles, not just on the path pretending we're not going to have those setbacks and those battles. So I have a few visuals too that will help us dial into the change that we are highlighting today. For those who are ready to get results but seem to be held back by something, I'm thinking this will destroy that something or just expose it so you can address it. And of course, we're talking about the wars within our mind and our psyche. the things that we have to take on. And it's a metaphor for life, right? Directed at us day traders. So I want you to imagine you're standing on a rock in the middle of a river. The rock represents the internal present moment. Everything you perceive happens on that rock, just like everything we perceive happens in this moment that we call the now, in which we always exist. The flowing water around you, it symbolizes the events, the situations, the circumstances of life. As you stand still on the rock, the river of time flows past you, carrying various experiences. Upstream, it's the future, right? Events yet to come. At your feet, the present moment, what you're perceiving. And then downstream, the past events that have flowed by. And your attention is like a flashlight, like a circle. Imagine a circle scanning this river. A small area that you can adjust and move around the river, as you see fit. And that river, it just contains these infinite lanes, right? Every few millimeters, inches to the left or right, just a different topic, different subject, different area of focus on this planet. Each representing different aspects of life, right? Career, relationship, personal growth, etc. At any moment, we can shift our attention to focus on a particular part of that stream. And we can even peer upstream, right? Anticipate what's coming. Sometimes we turn around and we watch an event as it flows further and further into the past, right? And sometimes we get stuck looking backwards to the past. Call that baggage. While it may seem that we are moving through time, in reality, we remain fixed on this rock of the present moment. And it's our perception and our focus that changes, not the position in the now. Birthdays, milestones, and daily events all flow by, becoming memories as they pass downstream. But it all is an experience that happens at one moment. And that moment's ever changing. So let's just say a few inches to the left of the rock is the topic, and that's where you have it's a specific topic, doesn't matter what it is right now, we'll get to that, but you have your focus on that area. And since this is the section of the river, as you see that circle there, you can see that there is an infinite flow through the circle, but where you're focused on is permanent. It won't change, but you'll get an unlimited depth to that subject, to that topic. For example, let's say you're looking at an area of, punching the microphone there, area of war. Understand, anyone focused on war is staring at the same spot. And this could be anything from the people wanting to wage war to the extreme anti-war. It's the same spot though. Now, since the circle of focus has the river of life flowing through it, it never ends. It's a forever topic. Not only can we focus there infinitely on that topic, but we have to understand that that topic cannot be different. It will always be what it is now. It will always be a view on war. Now, our perspective on that spot can alter, but that spot cannot change. If we didn't want to look at war, we'd have to remove ourselves from that spot. This is important to understand because we, either through miseducation or sometimes, maybe it's something else, I don't know. But we think if we look at a certain spot in the river, we can alter it. We think that if we focus on something long enough, it will change. We think that we can make a topic the opposite just by seeing it differently. For example, staring at the spot of war, but let's say their perspective is anti-war. Now, thinking about that river and how we described it, can that spot that flows war through the circle of perception, can it not be war? No. It will always be the same section of the river with an infinite flow behind it. So often the mistake is made that you know, maybe someone doesn't want to be looking at a specific section of life, but instead of changing where they look in the river, they try in vain to change what's flowing into that section. And it doesn't work. All efforts to wage a war on war increase war, right? The war on drugs increases drugs. If someone wants peace and not war, guess what? They need to look at the peace part of the river. That needs to be their focus, not the war part. Where attention goes, energy flows, and the infinite river causes results in that area to show. Now, I'm not saying this is some, we have a lot of wars going on right now. I'm not talking about solutions to world problems. I'm talking about us as individuals and how we can bring solutions to our own lives, which, of course, affect the greater good. And when more than one person gets together with the right cause and the right focus, they also can change the world. But we're talking about changing you for your trading journey today. And that problem occurs when we look at a section of the river that doesn't serve us, and we won't look anywhere else. And for people like me, and for those who are the target of today's message, we can get stuck seeking. And since we really aren't moving, but it's the water that is flowing, we're locked in on something that is infinite by nature. Seeker, learner, maybe perfectionist, people looking for more information to learn are looking at the same river area. The area of, what do I need to learn? What can I learn? And it's the river, of course. So that means for the seeker, there will always be more to learn, more to change, areas to grow in. They are locked in on the river section that will forever flow with more to do. But that section, it's a doing section. It's not a section of accomplishing anything. So it's a trap for the seeker that I've experienced myself, not only in trading, but in life in general. I think I've talked about it a lot. Because you get stuck in that time loop where you're looking for a final solution, but you're on the path of solely seeking solutions. It never ends until you end it, right? You end up in this super cold state, never freezing, never getting the results, just on the path of those results. And again, I keep talking about that super cold. I'm excited to introduce that there, so I keep bringing it up too early. But for traders, who want tangible results, like I once did, like I still do, right? The key is shifting focus from seeking results to having results. And this transition is crucial. It takes you from a mindset of doing and learning for improvement to one of doing and learning for achieving results. And you might be like, that's a nuance, man. It sounds the same. It's not. A seeker gathers tools, but remains unfulfilled. Conversely, someone who embodies success acts as if they already have what they seek. We are not the world. The world helps, but as individuals, we have to stop ourselves from being certain things. And we can't justify it. How can you justify and be impacted, right, by something that doesn't serve you? I want you to take this metaphor to heart, because if you often think about it, if you think and can be aware about the path that you're choosing, the thought path that you're choosing at the moment, and understand that you have to change it, you have to be different first, You're going to empower yourself. You can't anger your way into calm. At some point, anger just subsides and you switch to calm. And a lot of us don't know when we make that switch. So we think that path led there, but it didn't. You have to at some point decide to say, okay, I'm done being angry. Right? So seekers like myself, you may be focused on a river section of the need to grow and change. Learn about trading things, part of the river, right? But remember, it's an infinite flow. So is it logical to think that I'm focused on the developing path, developing myself, developing my strategy, developing my whatever? Is it logical to think that the I'm developing path leads to the I'm developed path? It doesn't, my friends. And I just hope I'm getting this across to someone. I don't know if I'm doing this well, because I can't overstate the importance of this. It's literally the knowledge of how you can change your life in any aspect. Where we focus on the river of life produces our respective life results. So let me say this, maybe paint up the picture better. Um, let's say a rubber ducky's coming down the river, right? We can all picture that. And that rubber ducky is your trading goals. Just going down the river, following its lane. Whatever you want from trading will be realized when that duck reaches you at the rock, right? When you're focused on that area, right? You won't see it if you're looking somewhere else. So stay with me here. So there's two traders, right, that want their trading goals realized. One trader is focused on developing. The other trader is focused on being a great trader that has their goals met. Is the ducky of goals, right? The ducky of realized goals, the ducky of success, is it flowing down the lane of developing? No, that successful duck isn't they in the developing trader lane. Why would the duck of success be on the development path? That's crazy. The ducky of success is in the success lane. Peace flows in the peace lane. It's not in the war lane. We have been tricked to think that we can fight against something and change it. But we don't realize the things that we focus on are taking our attention and they're living off of it. And when we remove our attention, it ceases to exist. I don't think the tree makes a sound when we're not in the forest. There's arguments for it. But if we don't have ourselves or something consciously there, a machine recording it or something, or whatever way you think about that experiment, there's nothing. Because we're not focused on that section of the river, right? It's unperceivable to us. So we need to give importance to what we perceive, less importance to what we can't perceive, and understand that things that we aren't perceiving, they're not as real as we make them out to be. So I'm telling you this, understanding so you can make the adjustments needed to realize your trading goals. To transition from a developing trader to a more consistent one, I have some tips, starting with, let's focus on releasing two common spots in the river that we may be focused on as seekers. One is time-based expectations. Stop counting the days since you started trading or setting these arbitrary deadlines for success. I learned in business one time, a long time ago, I should say, that when people set a goal to quit, they had already quit. This doesn't work by the end of the month, right? If I don't hit my sales numbers, I'm done. No, you're done now. Stop counting the days. This backward looking approach ties you to the past versions of yourself, hindering your progress, right? So you're anchored to the past in the river, which is getting further and further away. You're turned around, and the things that are happening at your feet in the now, you're not perceiving them with the power that you need to take the action that's necessary. You're hindering your progress. It looks like maybe there's a reflection on the river, right? So you're looking at that spot, thinking, well, I'm looking at the shadow of a tree here in this spot. And you're thinking it's going to change. But that reflection is infinite. As long as you look at it, it's going to be what it is. You know, that saying, it is what it is, right? There's a lot of things that we say that have deeper meanings. So we have to choose the life paths with our attention and our focus. And the paths we choose are final and forever. They're not path transitions, right? I talk about a train. When you get on a train, whatever name it says is likely where you're going to end up. No path transitions into something else in reality. In truth, we at some point just allow ourselves to change our focus. What will it take for you to change your focus, right? To give you permission to change your focus from seeker to haver, knowing that we will be blessed when we are the haver. We talked about the chicken and the egg last week. One step further is knowing that we need to have before we receive. Because another way to stagnate us on this path is a over focus toward the investment to get better. You know, this is the financial scoreboard. Shift your perspective from tallying overall losses to viewing your expenses as an investment in a lifelong skill, right? So instead of focusing on recouping cost, consider the value of developing a skill that can generate income infinitely. When we are counting, and this of course is from, the perspective of the personal spiritual growth journey. When we are counting, we're anchoring to a past part of the river, forever tethered to a past reality. Wow. The river is just flowing by. And we're focused on this, how much money I'm investing into this, right? Now I've lost so much by trading, thinking that the money is going to go up while we're focused on it going down. Well, sorry, the flow that we're locked in on isn't that one. If you plan on trading for the rest of your life, right, it's silly to count how long you've been doing it from the perspective of not having the results yet, right? It's silly to think about, I'm only going to put this much money into it, I'm going to get it, right? You don't do that with any other personal investments, right? What if after every, college course, you were like, well, done with my freshman year, but no degree or job? That would ruin your college experience, right? As you focus on not having the results that you're on the path towards getting. And then can't really focus on what you're going to do on the next step because you're facing the wrong direction. From my perspective, money spent day trading should be seen as an investment, self-investment, the most important type of investment. How much is it worth for you to have a skill that can pay you forever? How much is the golden goose worth? It's priceless. But you can put a price on an egg from the golden goose, right? The egg has a limited worth, right? And it's assuming golden eggs don't hatch. But it's worth, right? It has a limited worth, just like a single trade or P&L, right? The skill you are developing is worth every penny that you're investing if you're actually focused on developing that skill. But a lot are focused on making money with or without the skill set. And so they're hyper focused on counting how much money they've been putting into this. And they're wondering how they're going to get it back, right? So they're focused on the process of making the money back that they put in. When people say process focused, some unknowingly, that's their process. When you say I've invested $5 to the skill of making $5 forever versus I've spent $5 and I don't have $5 yet, right? It's a big difference. I've spent $6. I don't have $6 yet. I've spent $7. I don't have $7 yet, right? And it's what I hear. And when I think about this, when I hear the stories of other successful traders who were, like this, one day they decided to not care anymore, right? They changed their focus. That path never did and never will get to any other path of results. And you hear some traders like, oh man, I traded 15 years. I love Oliver Velez. Oliver Velez said he went through, I think, a decade or so of sucking before he had to change his mind. There's a saying that the journey is the destination. I got all the cliches today. And there's a few ways to see this statement, right? One interpretation means that how it is, getting to the goal is how it will be when you're at the goal, most likely, right? Now, another perspective on that quote is that the path we get on is also the end result, never changing until we do. As a trader, you're building a skill, right? And we dwell on what is lost on the journey and how long we have been on the journey. When we do that, we diminish the value of the self-investment. Because really, again, what does it cost to buy a goose that lays golden eggs? That's a big difference from how much does it cost to buy one golden egg. When we are focused on eggs and not being the goose, we spend too much time counting what it takes to learn. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about, the cost and the time to get the skill. That's what I am talking about. I'm not talking about money lost in the market, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't be losing in the market, right? Just in case anyone's thinking silly out there. But there's a difference in a skill investment, right? With a strict regimen toward an outcome, that money lost in the market. And the person, and that's a difference from the person who's not focused on improvement and losing money and unlikely, with just hopes of luck, anything but skill and experience, trying to reap what they haven't sowed. If you were loading up trading accounts and you don't feel like you're a consistent trader, you might be making a mistake. You might be missing the boat. My point is, understand that you are developing a skill, not a result. You're not chasing a end result. You're chasing a skill, and there's milestones to guide us on that. So the results come from having that skill. That skill requires you act and be different from who you are when you started day trading. So how can you act and be different and move forward into a newer you when you have a strong rope tied around your ankle and it's anchoring you back to a past point in time? It's difficult. So I want to make another reference to our journey as traders and relate it to the process of freezing water. Think about your trading journey like water approaching its freezing point, with freezing being the goal. When you embody the success of the day trader you desire to be, you're frozen. So we're going to go down this metaphor for a bit. Have you ever heard of the term super cold? And I'm not talking about the 90s slang when we were like, yo, that's super cold. Super cold, homie. Right? Not like that. Super cold is actually the state in which water can be cooled below its freezing point without turning into ice. It creates this equilibrium state called super cold water. Now, when we're freezing water into ice, or just in general, there are certain things that prevent super cold water from turning into ice, or they just kind of slow the freezing process. So you may be in a super cold state, possessing all of the necessary elements for success as a day trader, but still not seeing these consistent results. Well, when water is in a super cold state, there are two things that can help it move into a freezing state, right? One is a catalyst to start the freezing, right? They call that, right, that little point where it starts, a nucleation site. And then the removal of impurities can help water freeze. So a few things I'm going to tell you on how to relate this to trading and how to implement this with action today. So let's talk about removing impurities first. Removing impurities for a day trader are focusing on anything, or focus on removing anything that holds the trader in that water state, right? To mix the other metaphor in, any part of the river that you're focused on, that's not the end result part of the river. So as you focus on what you desire, trading to do for your life, impurities are the areas of uncertainty about the end results. You should be able to write initially, but then after you write it initially, recall it with ease, the results that you want from trading, who you are once you have those results. You should know details on this. Go through your day after, this show, the day today, and look for ways that you can be different based on you already having your trading results. And this is personal for you, but an example might be how you react to something and ensuring that that reaction is from the wish fulfilled state. I'm reacting as a person who is a successful trader in that situation. Start behaving like the successful trader you are. And look at life from the frozen eyes, right? Not from the freezing perspective. And again, to jump back to the river, think about someone on the freezing path thinking that one day they'll be frozen. And as we can see here, which I didn't know, right? I randomly ran across this. But now you know that there is a point in which you can be below freezing and not frozen. So to wrap your mind around that is the same way that we need to wrap our mind around that we can be a developing trader and never be developed. We're stuck in super code. So you want to write down, this is our action step. Action step. Write down with as much detail as possible, a single moment in which you have your trading goals already reached. Okay, so we're crafting this moment. You're going to write this down. Not a moment you're reaching these goals, a moment past that. Just a single moment in time, one aspect of the river. Detail that moment. You're going to write down the scene, right? The physical environment you're in. In this scene, you have your results. Not getting them, you already have them. And it can be simple. Maybe you write, just an example, you want to do this for yourself, but maybe you write about waking up in this scene where you stare at the ceiling for a moment in gratitude for your trading and life results. And you do this fully knowing that right now, in reality, you jump up and you start frantically preparing for work. And when you do that, you've moved your focus towards being ice. Then you write, details. Roll out of bed, feeling awesome, seeing what you would see as the great trader you are. What does the room look like, right? And it can be the same room you're in, but look at it through new eyes. Because you're bringing it to the now, you're not projecting yourself into some far point in the future. What do you think about as the first thing? I'll give you a hint. It's not the problems that you thought about yesterday or even today. From that accomplished space, write down what you think, what you see, what you smell. How do you feel? Allow yourself to carve out that moment. Maybe it's dark. Maybe it's daunting. Maybe your mind just says, this is dumb. There are going to be a lot of things, depending on the type of person you are, that are going to block you from taking this action. It's a spiritual block. Fight through it. You don't know, what you'll see, but you can do it and it's worth it. And as you get further towards it, you'll get more clarity. You'll start crafting it. This is not written in stone. So to be ice, to be frozen, to be a successful trader, you need clarity. Lacking clarity is impurity. Impurity keeps you super cold, not freezing. Seek clarity on what we say. Seek clarity on what we do. And seek to eliminate ambiguity, right? Our biggest foe. Ensure you know exactly what actions to take when you approach the charts. And with that same importance, seek clarity on who you have to be as you navigate the charts. That's the space you want to make decisions from. And I believe we discussed this last week, but it's helpful to talk about aligning strategies with goals. You're developing a process. We all are. And this process, it should directly contribute to your desired outcome. A floating process will need work when you attach it to the goal. It's like building an engine, right? And then building the car and working on putting that engine in the car. And I think a lot of traders not only focus on seeking mainly, so they're working on an engine, right? But they wait till they're complete with the engine and then they decide on the vehicle. Goals for the engine is just like a vehicle. Goals for a trader are like the vehicle that the engine goes into. If that makes sense. So, you know, you are on the long path when you're trying to figure out an engine, but you don't have it tied to these goals. And the transition sounds simple, right? Because I was fed this when I was a new trader. Focus on the process. Focus on the process. But what I realized is that that floating process wasn't the end result. And the process wasn't tied to that end result because it was disjointed. And a disjointed process, it's going to slow you down because it seems logical to say, I'm going to build a fast engine, then I can just put it in any car. But you still need to attach that engine to the car, right? You still need to merge your skills of entry with your goals. For example, let's say you worked on the skill of taking your trade set up, right? That's all you've done. I'm just taking my trade set up, no context, nothing every day. I'm focused on this. Over time, right? You can do it. But then you start thinking about these goals. How many times a day do you need to do it to reach your goal? Will the market give you that amount and that opportunity? Will you have to lower your goal and feel like it's not worth the trade and then you're in a gambling mentality? Will you have to raise your contracts just to make the bare minimum after fees and commission? And I've heard a lot of traders talk about, I don't have daily goals. And then this is the reason. I don't have daily goals because if I'm $100 short of that goal and I take an over trade, then I'm extra trading and it's all of these reasons that are actually other problems. Goals, what you want to get out of trading, that's not the problem. Now, if you get close to your goal and you can't discern and say, well, it's not worth taking this extra trade for the extra 100 when I could lose all of it. That's a decision problem of a different nature. That's not because of the goal. The goal is not the same as greed, over trading, right? Rushing, forcing. I don't think there's anything bad with having goals in trading, right? You just have to have the flexibility to understand that the market's not going to maybe not give that every day. And I come from a scalping background, right? As a scalper, there's slippage, but you set it up to know, okay, I'm scalping for 2 points. This is what I'm going to make based on these contracts, right? So maybe I'm just basing off that background, and there's other trading styles that aren't like that, but I think goals are important because you have to have a process that leads to something. You have to develop a trading process, right? And then have it just help you reach where you're trying to go. Because it seems logical, and I just said this, but it does seem logical to say, I'm going to build a fast engine and put it in a car. But there are so many other factors that you can put into the initial work and not push them out to the background, the back end. Remember earlier I said when you're aware of something, deal with it. But the trader who builds the engine for the car, with the car in mind, they can drive sooner. The trader who is focusing on a process that leads to their goals is going to go further. For example, let's say I want to be a trader that can win, just say 5 scalping trades a day, right? That's what I'm working on. Simming this every day. I just learned this scalping strategy. I'm trying to just get good at taking 5 trades, right? The time it spends to take 5, the focus it takes to take 5, right? The patience it takes, 5 trades. That's the skill set that I'm building. Okay. And let's say my goal is $100 profit daily. So now I know I need to make about $20 per trade, right? So I can laser focus on the psychology to execute those 5 trades. I can implement the contract amount needed in my simming, in my practice from the jump. I can get used to the time it takes to get to that amount of trades. And let's say another trader is way more defined than the trader who says, I can get in the market correctly. You're going to be way more defined than that trader. And then the next phase is create a plan for them to, start again. And it's like starting over. So there are so many moving parts that we novices can underestimate, right? We can underestimate the many factors we need to consider and implement when it comes to what can affect our performance and our psychology. So let's say a trader is disjointed, right? They're working on a strategy, focus on developing. Now they have a live account, and the amount of contracts over one is causing financial stress because they always just practice with one contract. But one contract doesn't help them reach their goals, and they didn't consider their goals, right? Maybe it's just 2 contracts to reach their goals. But it's a change. It's a change when business is open that should have been addressed during the franchising period when the business was being built. So practice a fully functional trading business. Not doing this is like opening a restaurant, right? And you spend the first month of training the staff on how to make the best tacos in the world. Then on opening day, you realize, dang, we need to sit customers, take payments, make drinks. So much we didn't prepare for. Don't put your process in a silo. Make your process reach your goals, right? So by working on the ambiguity that's related to how you see yourself and the gaps in your development process, if you tie that into a system of overarching goals, you're going to improve faster. And so that's the impurities. Number 2 is the catalyst needed to start the freezing process. We traders can benefit from something that sparks the belief that we have arrived at our success point. And then we can take that mentality into our trading. So someone who's super cold can start to freeze with a few different catalysts. So this is what the real catalyst for the super cold. I'm going to tell you how these relate to trading. First is shaking the container, right? You can shake a super cold, right? There's something about that starts the freezing process. You can put the water that's super cold on an ice cube, or you can drop a small amount of ice into the water, and all of these will take the super cold water and make it actually freeze like it's ready for. So these are a few things that we can do that's going to take this super cold trader into the successful trader that they want to be, right? So there are equivalents to trading all of these. So let's talk about shaking the container. The shaking the super cold water, it starts to freezing, forces the change. And for us, this may not be something we volunteer, but it's actually like the setbacks, things that shake up our life and force us into clarity, things that pique our attention. The great thing about the goal journey is a person with a goal can rest assured the life events, the shaking that they're going through, is in direct trajectory to the goals they're trying to reach. So embrace the suck. Embrace the suck. Take joy in today's challenges, knowing that it's going to shape you into who you need to be. There's no other reason for it to be there, right? And then, you can pour water onto an ice cube to start the freezing process. So when it comes to pouring water on the ice cube, the foundation of that is data, right? So this means that we are adding something that already has success to the process. That's how this equates. If you're ready to be a consistently profitable, confident trader, take some time to review the wins of your past. When I was in slumps, I would pull out my winning trade pictures. And at the time, I only had a few hundred, right? Just logged. But I would see the wins and think, yeah, I can do this. It has been done before. It was a confidence builder, right? And if you haven't, done that in a while, it can catapult you. And another tip, and I talked about this in a recent episode, it was November 10th, 2024, where I mentioned plugging data into an AI tool, right? So I did that and I asked, what were the main factors of my winning trades? And the output, it reconfirmed my rules. It boosted my knowing, right? And if it said these rules suck, then I would at least know, right? And it actually did make some criteria a little less important. And that still boosted my confidence because of the knowing, right? It was exactly what I needed. And after that, my efficiency, it boosted to yearly highs. To determine that, just FYI, I was looking at average losses, win percentage, a few other categories to gauge that. And once I saw that, I said, oh, I got to talk about this. But then so the last thing here is you can drop a small piece of ice into the water. And this is where we seek external motivation. And I want to be clear here. So let's dive into this. This is not about random binging on trading content, right? That's the secret path that I'm not promoting. I did all that at the beginning, but we are focused on traders who want to get off that path, who are on the cusp and ready to freeze and lock in results. So the key word is freeze, right? You have to solidify yourself in your mind's eye as being a good trader, so you take action from that mindset. Seeking motivation is easy when you do two things. First, you stop binging on random content, because the version of your success, of you successful, isn't as much interested in like just the cool thumbnail, right? They want to actually move the needle. So yes, this includes me. All content. I've tried to get better, this season at giving a general topic in the title so you can be discerning, right? Because that's what I would want. And I'm not sure if you all noticed, but the titles in social media, the realm, they're getting crazy these days, right? They're trying to, intrigue us with curiosity alone instead of presenting solutions, right? So instead of, the new computer Bill used to increase speed, it will say, Bill was losing trades until he did this. Now, I'm not mad at it, right? I can't fault people for doing what works with dealing with humans. But for us, though, let's not waste time randomly taking in info, and let's get more clear on what answers we need and seek them out. So you also add ice to your water, right? Spark yourself, motivate yourself when you're speaking with positive, like-minded traders, right? So you can do that through Discords, right? My Discord it's not popping, but you can join, right? It's growing, it's getting better at engagement, and I will. But decide who your favorite mentors of trading are and get their books and their stuff, right? Go to in-person meetings, connect with other traders on the path, all of them to spark your improvement, but do it mindfully. Don't expose yourself to potential harmful things to your brain or to your mind. So the warning for that suggestion, right? When I was first in business, this is a warning of motivation, and then we'll close it out for the day. Hope this was helpful. It's just little points that are easy to miss, but when you get them, the light bulb can go on. And sometimes I hope to plant the seed and like one day like an epiphany. But when it comes to motivation, when I was first starting in business, I went to a hiring conference, and they talked about getting the right people in your business. So I want to share my takeaways from that event so you can become the right person for your trading business. And the speaker talked about two people, and I don't remember the details, so here's my version of it. There are two types of people, right, when it comes to motivation: the flower, the candle. Now, the sun, that's pure motivation. That's all the things I mentioned: the Discord, the podcast, the videos, the books, right? All of that. Trading videos, all of that is the sun giving us motivation from outside of us externally. Now, the flower, it gets in the sun, begins to grow, blossoming more and more. But when the motivation leaves, when the sun sets and goes away, the night comes, the flower's terrified. It's not growing. All it can do is hold on tight while waiting for the sun to come back. It lacks its own source of motivation, right? And you see that with people that binge, you know, and you can see them in Discord. You can see people that are in the Discord and you're like, yeah, they're saying things. They're probably not trading. They're just here for entertainment, maybe motivation. But the candle, on the other hand, that's what I suggest for you. The candle, it gets hot while it's in the sun, right? It accepts the motivation. The sides start to melt, right? Maybe the wick burns a little hotter and it benefits from that motivation externally. But when the sun leaves, when there's no motivation and it goes dark, that light is lit. The candle has its own flame. It doesn't need to fret waiting for external motivation to help it grow. I hope, I pray, and I dedicate myself to being the sun for traders, while also providing the tools for my community to be candles and not flowers. You have to dig within yourself to stay on this path. If you wholeheartedly believe it's for you, it is for you. What you are seeking is indeed seeking you. And to close this out, I just want to address fear. Now, I'll do the takeaways. When we don't feel worthy of the results we seek, we start to push them away. And this is why I was stuck on the seeking growth path, developing path, and why, maybe some of you are. That's why I bring it up, because we think we have to change in some unknown way. And in the future, then we'll be able to claim the results, right? People don't want to feel successful. They don't want to give themselves permission because they're strongly tied to developing and feeling worthy of it. So know this, I'm not saying that you can skip the developing part, right? The difference is that you can develop in a way that grants success versus developing for the sake of development. The difference is stark, because if a trader is focused on developing, learning, all they can see is what they perceive as lack, and then they'll try to fill those gaps. When we start feeling like a successful trader, you can start to hold that space and be way more accurate with the changes needed and way more accurate with what is needed to be removed. So not only what you need to obtain, but what you need to get rid of as far as actions and qualities. And it's a way more powerful stance. So let's recap. Number one, shift your mindset. Transition from a seeker of knowledge to an achiever of results. Focus on embodying success rather than constantly seeking improvement. And the improvements you need, they will occur. They'll still be needed. They'll just be a little more focused. 2, embrace the present. Understand that time flows around you while you remain in the internal now. Your perception of time and events is what changes, not your position. So when you want to change something, you can change your perception of it to a path that's actually the end result of what you desire there. So from contrast comes clarity. Number 3 is release mental anchors. And this is time-based expectations. Stop counting the days since you started trading and focus on your current abilities and future potential. Financial scorekeeping, right? Stop doing that. View your trading expenses as an investment in a lifelong skill rather than losses to recover. Then visualize success. Write down a detailed scene of a moment when you have already achieved your trading goals. This clarity helps you eliminate ambiguity and aligns your mindset with your desired outcome. I think this is number 5 or 6. Remove impurities. Identify and eliminate uncertainties that hold you back from achieving your goals. Seek clarity in your actions and strategies, and as seeing yourself as you approach the markets. 6, align strategy with goals. Develop a clear plan that connects your trading skills with your financial objectives. Yes, process over outcome, but a process that leads to an outcome. When you have an outcome attached to the process, that's only when you can be focused on the process, because you know the outcome is inevitable. When you have a floating process, you don't know where it's going to take you. How can you truly focus on a process when you don't know what the process leads to? Your mind won't allow you. It's going to be like, I kind of want to be locked in on this, but what's going to happen? Understand how many trades you need to execute daily, right? To reach your desired point. Understand how many contracts you're going to need and practice that way. 7, this is the last one, is catalyst for change. Recognize the importance of having a catalyst. A specific action or realization can be triggered or can trigger your transformation from a developing trader to a successful one. You can look for outside sources, but find your inner motivation, your inner why. And by implementing these takeaways, you can break free from the cycle of seeking and step into the reality of having the results that you desire as a trader. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. And here's to being the hero of your story. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Trading Ascension Podcast. I hope you found valuable insights to help you on your day trading journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support by subscribing and leaving reviews helps me reach more traders like you and continue to provide this valuable content. Don't forget to head over to the tradingascension.com website for free resources, more tips, and exclusive content. If you can't wait till the next show, check out some of the previous episodes. They're great. But do join me on the next episode. And until then, keep ascending, stay mindful, and remember, your journey to mastering trading psychology for consistent profits starts with your willingness to embrace personal growth.